Okay, we have a few things to discuss today, and that is getting from point A today to point B, which is the end of the school year. Okay, so with that, seniors, I'm going to hand this paper out, and that will be due. That'll be your last assignment. You can turn that in on Thursday. And everybody else, we've got 2 vocabulary evaluations. This chapter, we'll do the first one on Wednesday, okay? And then the next one on next Tuesday. Is that what would work best for you? Or should we just do Wednesday and Thursday? Okay, so Wednesday and Tuesday? Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to write that down, so hopefully I don't forget that. So that would mean 5, okay, so A and P, okay, vocab quiz 5/4, A and P vocab quiz 2, which would be then the 10th. Okay. I think, isn't there just one page and then another page? Oh, well, I will get back to you on that. Okay. Then, okay, it's also time to start thinking about semester finals. Okay. Do we know for certain how many of you would be taking this one? Okay. 2. Okay. Who will be taking it? Okay, 3. All right. So just gives me a little bit, it'll be over this chapter, respiration. Okay. And then, so if that's the case with you 3 ladies, then we can pencil you in for general chemistry then, correct? Yes. Yes. Yes? No? No? Well, I thought you only get 1, correct? Oh, well, that could be. I don't know. Okay. That's a decision that's made above in an administrative level or above my pay grade is sometimes what people say. Okay. Then also, keep in mind what I will do next hour, I've done this for another class, is I've already put on the Science Channel everything that they need to know for the rest of the school year. I will do the same thing for you students, but it won't be till next hour. Does that make sense? That way you come to class, you have that time to take care of this at home, during a study hall, in here, whatever it is that fits into your schedule. Does that make sense? Of course, I'm explaining this, and I think that it makes sense to me. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. That's why I document, write things down like that. Okay, okay, away we go. All right, I think this is about where we left off with. Does that sound correct? Maybe it's back to this one. Maybe I'm too far. Yes? Okay. Okay. Stapled? Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. The upper tract, we had said. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. And maybe you don't have anything to write for this, maybe, maybe not. And you can go back to last week, content will be on, available for you. Okay, now, as we look at this, okay, so the upper tract, we're talking about your nose, your pharynx, which is your throat. So that's a little higher up in here. That would be approximately where your vocal, above your vocal cords yet, because that's your larynx. So your pharynx is about where you begin to swallow, because you have a glottis and an epiglottis there. And what that does, okay, is as you swallow, that glottis then flips down and covers a specific opening. What might that be? So we say things don't go down the wrong tube. So when you swallow, you have a glottis that flips down and covers your airway, which would be specifically called what? Be part of this, above this upper tract yet, or part of the lower tract, sorry. So when that glottis flips down, what gets covered up then? Trachea, because that's going to lead to your lungs. Now, a little bit of a review for here. Let's say, for instance, for some odd reason, I got a picture of this already. For some odd reason, an object gets down a child's trachea and ends up in the bronchi. Okay, that's where your trachea is going to split into two. So what happens is, if this is one lung, then here is your other lung. Not that one is bigger than the other, and then your trachea comes down here, and then it's going to split. Now this is anatomically, it's not quite, I want to try to make this somewhat anatomically accurate. There we go. Okay. Even though that probably is a little bit higher, a doctor is going to look in the right lung, okay? Because your lungs are part of that mediastinum or mediastinum. The lungs aren't the only organ that's in that area. What else might be located within this area in your thoracic cavity? So right here, what other organ might be present in there? Yeah, your heart actually lies in there. So what happens is a physician or doctor is going to be looking for an object that's going to enter the right lung. And what do we see about the slope of this line? There's a reason why they're going to look in the right lung and not the left. Because what else is sitting in that mediastinum? Well, the heart does. And since that's sitting in this cavity, okay, of course, it's going to be a different shape than that, but it's not terrible. That's a little better. There's actually 2 lobes over here as opposed to 3 lobes on your right lung. And that's because as that heart is sitting in there, the anatomical position of that's going to be just a little bit different, and that's why this part of the bronchi sits a little higher than that one. Okay. So we still had issues with this morning. Good, we're still recording, and I better plug this in. Make sure it didn't stop. Nope, it's still recording. Good, sound is still working. All right. Has anyone had the opportunity to clean out a grain bin before? And will go under the presumption that some of you have, and you don't have a mask or a handkerchief on your face. Okay? So a response to that, your brain is going to say, we need to create more mucus, because inside a grain bin at the very bottom, it's going to be full of what inside? Besides grain, that's down to the bottom. Lots of dust, foreign particles, like that. So what happens then, you have these tiny hairs that will keep them foreign particles out, but to a certain extent. Then, of course, you're done. You go blow your nose. What does it look like? Is it going to be clear? Do you think? Possibly not yellow. You're just going to have lots of dust, so it's going to be brown or even black. Now, you might think that that looks awful, but if that mucus wasn't there, all of that would be getting into your lungs. And then it's not that you'd have problems with that, but those foreign particles then could get into your bloodstream. So different types of pathogens could do that. So having that mucus being produced and these cilia or nasal hairs, if you want to call it that, keep these foreign particles out. Yes, I get it. It would look terrible, but it's just a way to keep things from getting into your lungs. Okay. So I don't even know what's for dinner today. I haven't wrote the lunch. What's that? Dunkers. Okay. So when objects are in your mouth, can you still smell them, do you think? Why would that be? Because going to the back of your mouth, those scents can still travel up through your nasal cavity, and you can still smell things that are inside your mouth. Okay. If an individual has one nostril that's bigger than another, you call that a deviated septum. Okay? So ideally, it should split that in equal portions. Now, if people exercise, let's say, non-healthy behaviors with, you could say, illicit drugs, okay, whether it's cocaine, LSD, or anything to that nature, is this nasal tissue, is it fairly, what do I want to say, fragile? The answer is yes, because over time, these materials might do what to its septum then? Actually eats a hole in it, okay? And I guess I would certainly think that would create many different types of problems, especially with that of respiration, but it would be evident that a doctor would probably be able to see that in an examination. Okay. Where does that put us? Okay. And one of the things I would like to do, this is entirely up to you. On Thursday, students that are still in here, we crack the cat, we dissect the cat one more time. Do you want to see the internal anatomy of circulation and respiration in your cat specimen? I don't have to have an answer now, but just think about that between now and Thursday. So cold air entering the lungs, it's best if you can breathe how? Rather than outside when it's really cold, rather than breathing through your mouth, it's best if you can breathe through your nose. Why does it say that? Why would you make that presumption when we read this up here? What does your nose do to that air before it enters the lungs then? What does it say up here? Not just moistens it, what else? Yeah, it's going to heat that air up before it actually enters the lungs. I think what we'll do is we'll get this video up to about 20 minutes. We'll stop. I'll hand this out so you can, if you choose to get started on it, fine. If not, if you have other things to work on, that's fine too. Then next hour, we'll start wrapping up this chapter. And then, like we said, tomorrow, you come to class. It's your time to utilize how you see fit. And if you want to work on this outside of class, you can. All right. I just want to try to pick a good place to stop. Let's do this one. Okay. I just want to do this slide, and then when the next video starts, that's where we'll be starting to talk about the true and false vocal cords. Now, all of these are going to aid in producing sound, because as sound resonates, as it comes up out of the air comes up out of your lungs and through your larynx, through your pharynx, and even through your nasal cavity. For anyone who's been in elementary, well, of course, everyone's been in elementary, but typically that might be the age you do this. It kind of sounds funny when you pinch your nose when you start to talk. What happens when does your voice sound the same? Of course, the answer is no, because what's happening is as that air is flowing up through, again, your larynx and your pharynx, that sound just does not resonate how it should, and changes the pitch of what we perceive as sound coming out of your mouth then. Okay, so that's just about 20 minutes right there. I'll hand these papers out, and then the rest of the time will be yours. Okay, so I'll make the next video next hour. We'll catch up to you next time.